Has social media ran its course? Maybe, maybe not. Clockout is a networking app that prioritizes in real life connections. It's gotten 500,000 users and hit 1 million in annual revenue, all while still in beta. Today, I'm joined by Krishna Dosapati, the founder and CEO.
It's Lil Baby.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for doing this.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
If you had to describe Clockout, how would you describe Clockout?
If like LinkedIn and Meetup had a baby, it would be Clockout. So the entire focus of Clockout is like local, meaningful networking. We target Gen Z. So we kind of fill the gap that LinkedIn doesn't fill when it comes to networking. Like, I think LinkedIn is a great career platform, but it's now really turned into content and it's turned into like sales and recruiting. So there's a huge missing piece in the market of like 80% of jobs are actually filled through people you know. So like, how do you get to know people using LinkedIn? You can't. So that's kind of the space that's kind of the gap that Clockout fills. Like, we focus on local, meaningful networking. So we power now like over 6,000 professional communities. And so you can obviously network within the communities and the events that are hosted within those communities. But you also have the ability to like individually network with people, and it's gamified and it's fun and it feels very organic and natural to chat with somebody on Clockout, where you don't need to send somebody like, you can just say like, hey, I'm a founder. Like, what are you building? You don't need to say like, here's my pitch. Here's all this stuff about me, just to ask somebody to have a conversation with you.
I'm on Clockout.
Oh, are you on it?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I'm on Clockout. One of my favorite features is the daily
intros.
You get 15 people that like basically are curated to you, saying, hey, you should connect with these people. And honestly, that's been like my favorite part of the app.
Exactly.
Because like, to your point, LinkedIn has become kind of like a cesspool of professionalism.
Yep.
Where it's like everyone just boasting on their own personal merits.
Yep.
And, you know, when I was in college, that was a thing. Like, you would cold email people on LinkedIn or cold message people on LinkedIn, and that's still a thing, but it's
pivoted away from that.
Yeah, and it's not truly an organic way to network. So the daily intros feature is incredible.
Yeah, it's so funny because we launched Clockout. So Clockout was launched summer 2024, and it was launched as like a professional community product. That's like all that it had functionality wise, and it was fascinating because people started connecting individually on the product. So even though we built it for the communities and people were loving the community-based networking, to your point, they were like, I would so much rather talk to this person on Clockout than LinkedIn. And something I always tell founders is like, it's so much easier to build in public than it is in private, because you don't know what's going to work and you don't know what people want. So then like, once we released it and it was public, and we saw that in the data, then we started innovating around that. And now like the typical user journey is like, people come on for the communities, and that's kind of what's super attractive, because people really want to join these high quality networks and create these high quality networks. But then the way that they use it on a day-to-day in between the events or the community-based networking opportunities that exist is through these daily intros. So it's been really fascinating to see people using it.
Like you said, right? Like, I think that's why like the building in public thesis is the best thesis, because your users essentially kind of guide what you're building,
Absolutely.
right? Like what the app and what the framework of the app ends up being, right? You've obviously have been building in public. You've hit 1 million in annual revenue, recurring revenue.
Yeah.
What is the revenue model for Clockout?
The revenue model is entirely subscription based at this point. So it's all premium subscriptions. So you can access the platform for free. So in the beginning, you have the ability to access the platform with like no limits. So we call that full access, and you get a free trial for that. And, you know, a lot of people do want full access of the product, or you can like upgrade at specific points in the user journey. So a lot of people want to know, with the intros feature, typically, even though it's not designed like a dating app, the logic is similar, where like you don't know who wants to connect with you unless they've also opted into the connection. So you get like a certain number of people, or half of them you can see for free, like who wants to connect with you. But if you want to see everybody who wants to connect with you, you do have to upgrade and pay. And so obviously when we released the product, it was completely free and we were just optimizing for the data. We were optimizing for attention. We'd crossed 40 to 60% monthly retention, which is really high in the networking or consumer app space. So that was when we were like, okay, let's test some, you know, wherever we see the most desire and the most click through and the most usage of the product, let's see if people would be willing to pay for those features. And they were, which is incredible because this is like this is a beta of the product. So it's been really exciting to see the growth over the past year or past 10 months.
Because what are you on now? Like 500,000 downloads?
We're approaching 500,000 downloads.
Because I think, especially with like vibe coding now being a thing, right? Like the barrier for entry for apps has become much lower. So you're seeing a influx inside the marketplace of just a bunch of apps.
Random apps, yeah.
But where people are struggling is distribution and user acquisition, right? You've managed to gain 500,000 downloads, right? What was the user acquisition strategy there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, it was a combination of like really relatable and like funny and good marketing with a lot of word of mouth that came after that and like a really strong referrals program. So essentially I think the great thing about Clockout is that everybody wants this. It's like if you market a product as like a way for people to connect in real life the same way that they did in college, like who doesn't want a product like that? So like just having really great content go out of the product, as well as just like really relatable, like funny memes. So for some context, even till now, like when I launched Clockout, something that was really important to me is that you have a lot of products that target anyone and everyone, and that's their downfall. So with any quality product like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, when you start, you don't have the algorithms to make sure that all the content that exists is like high quality or all the people that you see are relevant to you. So you have to curate to like a specific market in the very beginning. And so for us, that's why the product is and still is approval only. And we want it to be, you know, only towards professionals. And so obviously when you're approval only, that can also come with a downside of, you know, user acquisition, because there could be drop off. Like perhaps people don't want to wait for to hear back about their approval. So I was like, how do I turn this into something marketable that could be at my advantage? So then we had a lot of marketing campaigns around like, okay, if we say there's an app that only accepts ambitious people, that doesn't really land as well because you don't really know what that means. So we tinkered with a lot of like exciting messaging, like this app that only accepts smart people is going viral. So people are like, what is that? Like, what does that even mean? So that messaging just being like really relatable and like funny has worked really well for us. So our return on ad spend is like 900%, which is like crazy. And then the people who come on refer a lot of their friends because it's approval only. If you invite your friends, they don't really need to get approved. And so that gives you the ability to like join communities and network with your friends on the platform, which is a lot more fun. So majority of our growth is actually via referrals. It's not via marketing, but marketing definitely gets that flywheel going.
Amazing. So the marketing gets the flywheel going, right? But you also dropped your retention numbers, which are also pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
You said 60%?
40 to 60% before monetization. After monetization, 35%.
Still
not bad.
Still not bad,
Yeah.
right? Why do you think that retention number is so high?
Nobody's ever cracked professional networking. So like there is a massive unmet immense demand for people who want to meaningfully connect with people in their industry and industries we're trying to pivot into. And we're the market leader in that space. So I think the reason they stay on is they're like, even though I'm sure they can tell that this is a beta product, they see real value in it. So I think a combination of the intros and like the community-based networking opportunities is really attractive to a lot of people, which has been exciting.
In the current environment that we're in, right? Because I think we're seeing a lot of companies now shift from having purely digital businesses to trying to figure out how do I convert my 100% digital business into something that converts in real life. You and Clockout have successfully done that, right? Because you have. How did you guys kind of start the process of people meeting up
in person?
In person.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what's really funny is it took over a year to just ship this beta. And that was actually one of the most nerve-wracking parts because to your point, a lot of products have tried to do this and they failed. So for example, like the largest community platform that exists is meetup.com. And Meetup's retention is like really low, like maybe 5%, right? Or maybe 10% or perhaps less. And the reason is because they're not driving real value. And I think the reason that community products don't drive value overall, or there's such a negative association with them, is because community is such a loose term. So like if I join some Facebook group, like, and I'm part of a community, or I join a WhatsApp group, I'm part of a community, like who are these people? Like you're telling me that it's a community, but if that community does not meet, to me, that's not a community. That's a random waste of time. So on Clockout, when you create a community, your community does not go live until you publish a kickoff date, which is like the first meeting for that community. So then we build the infrastructure to make it really easy to guide the host through that process. So all the 6,000 communities I'm talking about are hosts that actually hosted a kickoff, because otherwise your community doesn't go live. So in order for your community to go live, you have to publish a kickoff, and then you have to finalize the planning of that before you can accept new members. And then for you to keep accepting new members, you have to keep hosting more events. As long as you have hosted your first event, people can join the waitlist of your community, but they don't get off the waitlist until you host again. So that infrastructure and like a very strong push towards like, yes, you have this digital community, which is also hosted via chat. It's not just like a random page. Every person in the chat, you can see what they're doing, where they work. When they join the community chat, they have like majority of the hosts have this feature on where you have to introduce yourself to join the community. So like even the users are very active participants when they join. They're highly recommended to attend the upcoming meetup for their community. And then the hosts, to accept the members, have to keep scheduling more events. And that kind of really is what creates a lot of quality control. So when somebody joins a community on Clockout, they are guaranteed to get something out of that. And that was something that was really important for us.
You've incentivized not having just numbers on a screen.
Yeah.
You've incentivized actually having a real life experience.
Exactly.
I want to emphasize this because I think that's like something valuable that a lot of people can take away from. Because I think when you think about whether it's a app, whether it's a musician, I think a lot of us focus on, hey, I have XYZ numbers on a screen.
Yep.
But the first time that people realize that those numbers are just on the screen is the first time they try to actually host something.
Yeah.
Or try to have a concert or try
Exactly.
to throw an event.
Yeah.
And then they realize, oh, these are just numbers on a screen. I can't actually convert it here, right? Because it's not real until you can get that person in front of you.
The most real experiences happen in person. So especially if you think about like networking, if you have 5,000 followers on LinkedIn, that literally does not mean anything. These people do not know you. If you have not had a conversation with them, like, what is the point? I see some people and they're like, I have 30,000 LinkedIn followers. Okay, but like tomorrow, if you're trying to recruit and get a job, have you had conversations with these 30,000? Not that anybody can have conversation with 30,000 people, but have you had meaningful conversations with anyone? Like, I would rather have 200 people that I've had meaningful conversations with that can open doors for me than 30,000 followers on LinkedIn that are going to do nothing.
I think that's so important. Like I remember like a couple years back, I deleted my LinkedIn because I was like, I had the coveted at that time. It was like 1,000 connections or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I had, because after that, they don't even show you, right? But then I looked at it and I thought the same thing. I was like, I have 1,000 connections, but what the fuck does that actually mean, right?
And if you click your connections, it's like randos.
It's like randoms that have just hit me to connect, right?
Yeah.
Because then I think about it, right? I was like, yo, in a professional, if I needed something professionally, I don't think I would go through my LinkedIn Rolodex. I
No.
would probably go through, and I have gone through, like, who's actually in my phone? Who
Yeah,
have
like
I
your text messages.
who have
Who
I
talked
actually
to?
met and
Yeah,
talked to, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's so important for people to understand the distinction, right? Of, hey, because I think we grew up in the generation of like learning these digital platforms, social media, LinkedIn, and I think we assumed that this, and at the time when it was first created, maybe that was true. Hey, this is a real reflection of the real world.
Yeah, because the point was to connect with people you already knew.
Exactly, right? But as soon as that changed, right, that no longer became the case. So
Yep.
then what did it actually become?
Yeah.
Right? And then you realize, like, this is no longer a reflection of my real life. You need to, as much care and curation that goes into your online digital presence, it needs to equate back into your real life connections.
Exactly.
'Cause
Otherwise, it's meaningless. I mean, unless you're an influencer that is getting a lot of views and you're not gaining from your follower, like you're not gaining from like knowing the end person who's viewing your content. You don't even know them. But you're gaining from like maybe the capital that you get from like brand partnerships and people who want to pay you for you getting those views.
I think that there's still a premium though on the influencer that does know their end consumer.
For sure.
I think that is the main premium, right? Because when we think about any business, right, whether it's somebody trying to market something or somebody trying to sell something, they're really trying to tap into that end consumer, right? And that end consumer, all the data in the world will not get you to in front of that end consumer. Like you can try different things, right? And people have tried a million different ways, but there's a huge discrepancy in I understand in concept who my end consumer is, and I've actually met my end consumer.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think you're always gonna gain by meeting whoever you're targeting, whether you're a creator, whether you're an influencer, or whether you're just like a random common person that just wants to build your network and meet new people. It's always going to be so much more impactful if you meet them in person. Obviously, like to that point and to your point of how you're enjoying the intros, like at the end of the day, the most impactful connections happen in person. But in reality, like people are busy, like life is overwhelming. There's only so many events or so many people that you can meet in person. But functionality like the intros where, you may get coffee chats with some of these people, you may not, but the incentive is to at least get you to have a meaningful conversation with them and not just like click an add button and they're in your connections and it doesn't even matter. So like on Clockout, when you get an intro and you match, but it's, you know what I mean? Like you connect with this person, the intro goes cold in 48 hours. I don't know if you've noticed that. So it expires. So if you don't start a conversation with them in 48 hours, it like goes into your list of connections, but it's no longer front and center, like in your inbox. And so eventually over time, something that we want to do is like, and it's something that I don't know why LinkedIn hasn't done it. It's like bifurcating your connections by like who you've talked to and who you haven't. And then the AI models learning like, which of these conversations are like impactful for you. So like, let's say you're a creator and perhaps like you want to have more brand partnerships or you want to bring more people onto your podcast. The models can tell you like, hey, like you probably forgot, but here are all the people that you actually had meaningful conversations with. And like taking that out of just like your list of thousands of connections. And that is where like the value is. Because a lot of people have meaningful conversations and then they forget, right? Like they may not have kept in touch with that person or maybe they never met in person even though they had this great conversation. So the thing about Clockout is like it's not just IRL. IRL drives the most impact, but it's all about meaningful connection. And I think the reason to your earlier question of like, why is it doing so well is because there's no product that's ever optimized for this.
I think that is an incredible, I haven't seen that. And so that's incredible to know, right? Because I think about that in terms of like larger LinkedIn, Instagram, right? I follow maybe like 3,000 people on Instagram.
Yeah.
But of the 3,000, I'm not going to unfollow all 3,000 of them. But
Yeah.
of the 3,000, I probably connect with on a regular basis, maybe like 10% of that.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe
100%.
less. right? So I would like my algorithm curated based off of the people that I am interacting with more heavily. Like of the 3,000, I probably only care what like 200 of them are really posting. So I would much rather see
that
from those
content.
people more consistently, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that like, I mean, it's amazing that your app is doing that live, right? Because it's like, hey, you could have 1,000 LinkedIn connections, but these are like the 5 that you actually talk to.
Yeah.
That you
exactly.
actually will talk to.
Yeah. Or like the people that you talk to and you forgot that you talked to. And I think the interesting thing about like Instagram is like Instagram doesn't really care if you're having meaningful conversations. They're maximizing screen time. Like the way Instagram makes money is through ads, right? And through data. So the richer data that they have on you, the better it is for them. So too much of social media and platforms that like started as connection tools, they were, started as like ways for you to connect with people you already know, and then they broadened from that because that's how their business models are. And then even LinkedIn, which started as like a networking product, but then its business model evolved into sales, right? Like they make so much money off of like Sales Navigator. And because that's the ethos of it, like LinkedIn is just spam. I don't think LinkedIn would actually ever want to do that because they want to optimize for the random sales DMs that you're getting because that's the people that they're making money off of. So there's no platform that's optimized for connection. And that's what people need the most in this day and age. I don't need thousands more followers. Like as a normal person, the normal average person doesn't need more validation online. Like the normal average person needs to connect with more people. And obviously for us, that's in a professional sense, but I'm sure that's also the case in a social sense, right? It's like, I want to have more real conversations with people that add real value. So
why do you think that's a real good point? And I'm curious to hear your opinion on it. Why do you think that Instagram, LinkedIn made that jump in terms of business model, right? Is there as a founder, as the CEO, is there a profitable roadmap for a connections first platform?
I mean, that was the most anxiety inducing part, right? Where I did not know the answer to that question, like in the beginning. Now I do because we are profitable on a beta. So yes, there is a path towards profitability. Why did they not focus on it before? So the interesting thing about like LinkedIn and Instagram, so like for a product where you're socially connecting with others purely, I do not think there is a profitable model for that. In the sense that like, if you think about it in a simple sense, like people are not going to pay to make friends. That's just not something that like mentally people are not willing to pay for that. And so that's why a lot of friendship platforms end up failing. Will people pay to build their network? Yes. But the interesting thing about LinkedIn is like LinkedIn was created in the early 2000s. So LinkedIn slowly optimized over time for what was generating the most revenue for them based on what existed in the market at that time. So that doesn't mean it hasn't evolved over time, but because at the time of, let's say like 2013, 2014, pre-COVID, there was probably less of a desire for people to pay for professional connection than there is today, because people are just more connected. Like you went to work more, you went to happy hour, you were just more involved in like real life rather than just everything being digital. So they saw most of their revenue coming in from like sales. So they optimized for that. But the thing is, like, once you optimize for sales, you cannot optimize for real connection because they're almost like conflicting business models. If I associated product with like getting random spam DMs or recruiters, when I see a message from like a real person, like my subconscious mind is already just assuming that you want to extract something from me if you're DMing me on LinkedIn. So because they've already optimized for that and they're making a lot of revenue from that, they're running with that and they're scaling with that. And obviously that's a very LinkedIn is one of the most profitable social networks. They make a lot of money from that business model. But because that's their business model, they're never going to be able to tap into the human connection part. Like nobody's ever going to want to use LinkedIn to have a real conversation because it feels like you're email spamming people. Like it's a DM, but it's not even a DM. Like you have to write a long message to even feel comfortable sending a message on LinkedIn.
I think
So I think it's like because we were released post COVID in a world that is so different, the willingness to pay for human connection, especially within the context of networking, is skyrocketed. And that's kind of why we're able to be profitable at such an early stage.
I think that's so interesting because like I think about like what does like the next generation of social apps look like, right? Because when I think about LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, right? Probably because of that prioritization of monetization and sales, it has kind of swayed away from truly social apps.
Connection, yeah.
Like Twitter, Instagram, like all of those things. Like I remember what all of those apps were.
A long time ago, yeah.
But it's no longer and hasn't been that in a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So I think about what does the next generation of us on the internet look like? Because I think people are becoming pretty cognizant of that. Like your average everyday user is becoming pretty cognizant of that. Right.
Yeah.
Like we keep using LinkedIn because it is like it's the easiest comparison. Right. But I saw anecdotally, I saw a friend post, she's looking for a job and she had to post on Instagram saying, hey, this person messaged me on LinkedIn who's a recruiter, but I don't know if they're actually a recruiter. And I was like, wow, like look at the app that was built to be the professional standard bearer.
Yeah.
Now you can't even trust
Yeah.
that the person that's across from you in this app is who they're saying that they are.
Yeah.
And when you think about botting on Twitter or botting on Instagram and these issues that are so embedded now inside these social apps because of that monetization first policy.
Yeah.
I think about like how do we move away from that? And it is real connections. That is the only way that you counteract this sales driven social media
model. I mean, it's so hard because like it's funny because like I miss the old Facebook days. I always talk about that. Like the old Facebook was so much fun because there was no curation. It was like a true platform where like you could connect with your friends. And now it pivoted. Like Mark Zuckerberg added way too, like he just tried to add everything into Facebook and it lost the value of Facebook and Facebook just became very overwhelming and everyone migrated off of it. But the original Facebook actually like had a lot of value. I'm like, are we ever going to, would a product like that be reintroduced to the market now and would it perform well or would it not because people are so programmed around curation that like posting on each other's walls or just being authentic in a public way is like too intimidating. I have no clue, but I do think that like the biggest untapped market in social is human connection. And that could exist obviously in the professional side. It could also exist on the social side. What will that look like? I don't know. But that is the biggest untapped market in this day and age. Like if you created a new Instagram, it would flop. If you created a new LinkedIn, it would also flop. You have to create a product that adds real value because people have way too many apps on their phone. So for that value to be really tangible, it has to solve a problem and it has to do that really well for people to keep using it.
Yeah, because when I think about like, again, like the original Facebook, right? It really was because all of my friends could be in one place and I could understand all of my friends' worlds in this one place.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have any app on my phone that does that anymore, right? Like, like I said, I follow like 3,000 people. They're not all people that I like, but I want to know. I still do want to. That's the human element of it. I still want to know what my friends are up to, right? Like, I want to know that my friend just had a kid in Ohio that I haven't talked to in like 2 years, right? Yeah. I want to know those things, but that's not what these apps are optimizing for.
I mean, theoretically, we all know those things through like their stories, right? But we don't know the real things. It's like all of Instagram is turned into a highlight reel. So it's like you might see that your friend had a kid, but you don't know what they're like. You know what I mean? It's like, here's my baby photo shoot. Like,
but
it's like, what's your life really like with your kid?
You know how you highlighted that you looked at your users and how they were using the app and then curated the app based off of that.
Yeah.
I think that we're in a cycle where we saw how we got programmed by the apps.
Yeah.
Where everybody's life and content, the fact that we call everything us sharing everything
content
part of our lives,
Yeah.
like my baby photos
Yeah.
as content.
It's so ridiculous.
But that's a programming on the app level,
Yeah.
right? Like that's like, hey, we want our users to do this.
Yeah.
Right, we want you to sell your wedding or sell your baby.
Yeah.
Like that is what the app is actually for,
Yeah.
right? The app
Yeah.
is not for you to actually share your like off-brand, real moment, right?
Yeah.
Like because that doesn't drive revenue for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is not for you to just share whatever, right? And I think even in the UI of these products, that becomes pretty evident.
Exactly. Like it's all like. Before with Instagram, with Facebook, the front and center was like the wall, like the text, like what did you have to say? It was the focus was on the interaction. With like Instagram, it's like the comments are there, but majority of what you see is just content. It's just photos, it's just videos, and the comments come after that. And it's kind of like a one-sided way of interaction. It's not like before you would just make like random posts and the point of it was to just interact with your friends. And then now it's like you make it so that you get some validation from the people you know or people you don't even know. And it's just like a one-sided way of interacting. It's like you put this content out there, people drop some comments, and you don't really have a real way to even interact with the people who commented on your content. And everything is around a piece of content. It's not around just a conversation.
Or the person.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about something that you mentioned, right? The marketing for Clockout early was and I saw it a lot, right? I literally had a friend send me like an ad that I did way back,
really?
right?
Okay, yeah.
Saying the app that only allows smart people.
Yeah.
From a marketing perspective, genius, right? Because it worked.
Yeah.
Right? But how did you feel about that as like a founder?
I mean, like you have to have something that people are going to talk about. Like if your marketing is just like, download this app because it's going to help you like grow your professional network. Like in this day and age, like that just doesn't convert. So I think being like, having an it factor from a marketing perspective and being relatable, I think is really, really important. So the purpose of that was to filter for a person who is ambitious, because we do want to set the stage with like ambitious professionals. And ambitious professionals doesn't mean that like you have to have gone to the best school. It just means that like you have to be doing something with your life, because our algorithms are not so advanced. Like LinkedIn, there is definitely like bartenders. There's probably like a lot of different types of people that are on it. But as a founder, I only see content from other founders because the algorithms are optimized. And so even though we're optimizing for connection, that's almost even more important. It's like the algorithm has to really be optimized for me to constantly see communities and content and people that are relevant to me. So kind of what I talked about before, like this marketing does a really good job in attracting ambitious professionals. And then because it sets the stage with the right people, then the word of mouth spread and the referrals and like that machine keeps targeting the correct people that we're looking to target, which is really just like a working professional. So for me, it's like, marketing is just a way to then spark a real word of mouth. And we tested so many different types of messaging, and this one was like very effective. And some people love it. Some people are like, this is amazing. Like all social media should do this. And some people are like, what does this mean? Like, you know, like, I don't know what that means, but it's fun and it's funny and it does well. So yeah.
I think I enjoyed the marketing aspect of it, but I also enjoyed the concept of it also, right? For a couple of different reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I think about why do people join Soho House
Mm-hmm.
or why do people join
Yeah.
Cipriani's, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because you want to go to I want to be, if I have a limited amount of time and social battery and
Yeah.
social energy, I want to go to a place where I know, maybe not 100%, but I know that there's going to be people there that I align with on some level,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's why I like it from the real human perspective. The reason I also like it is because just having a vetting process
Mm-hmm.
wipes away botting, which is a
Yeah.
huge fear of mine and just social aspect,
Yeah.
right? Like anytime I go on the internet now, I like look at things and I'm like, is this a real person?
Mm-hmm.
Is this person from anywhere that I would give a fuck about their opinion about anything on?
Mm-hmm.
And usually the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you introduce a vetting process, it eliminates that
Yeah.
completely. Everybody on Clockout is a real person.
Yeah.
Everybody on Clockout is tied to who they are,
Yeah.
what they do,
Yeah.
where they work.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because, like, I feel like, I mean, eventually we may not always be like approval only in a way that you have to wait 24 hours or anything like that. But our AI models are getting better and better where they're able to send, because like the point of the product is connection, right? Like real connection. And it, to your point, it's like, it's really, it's one thing if you have bot people commenting on your posts or following you, but you don't want to connect with people who are bots. Like that is really bad. So I think it's really, there's so much data now where like you can really vet by like somebody's online profiles if somebody's a real person or not. Or if there's something about them that maybe may point towards like scamming or spammy behavior. And I think all products should have that. Like I think dating apps should have that because again, dating apps are like all about, dating apps are literally just about connection, right? So, yeah, I definitely think it filters for like the right demographic of people. And to your point, and the other reason that it was also a great way for us to go to market is that any platform that optimizes for community has a very typically a negative association with it. So when you think of like meetup.com, it's like there's a lot of community products that people feel desperate to use, right? But then on the other hand, what you would see through the data is like people are willing to pay for like vetted communities, right? So if you can make community or networking cool, that's really where the money is at. If you make it seem like here's a new platform for you to make friends or like for you to meet new people, a lot of people, even though there is that desire to meet new people, they don't feel comfortable using a digital product to do that because it makes them feel desperate. So the positioning of Clockout is like you being a part of this platform, you know, shows that you're benefiting yourself and you're joining something that's curated amongst professionals. Having our go-to-market strategy be, you know, this is a social network for smart people or is a networking product for smart people. People feel like they're gaining a lot of value by joining this product because you're making networking cool. So that's actually one of the other reasons that it adds a lot of value because people feel good about using it. There's no shame in like using a product to authentically connect with people like there was in the past with other products.
Amazing. I wrap every pod with a segment called Call Your Shot. It's my idea of like goal setting, but the idea of being right, it's like something that you will make happen in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever timeline you feel comfortable sharing, right? But whether it's for yourself, whether it's for Clockout, right? But Krishna, call your shot.
Call my shot. Okay. In 1 year, I want to have expanded my team. So like right now, I am like everything. So I have one in-house employee and I have a team of engineers, but I'm like CMO, CTO, CPO, whatever, right? Like it's crazy. So I'm really excited to, right now we're going out to raise capital. So I'm excited to close my fundraise, double or triple revenue in the next year, and build out a team that can like take this product forward in a more scalable and rapid manner. In 5 years, I want to be known as like, if people are thinking about networking, like they're thinking about Clockout. Like that is the goal in 5 years. I think at that point we would have wanted to expand it. We want to have expanded to other countries as well, because we have now like 83,000 followers on Instagram, and a lot of those followers are people DMing us from other countries being like, when are you going to be available in my area? And there's so much desire and hunger for a product like this everywhere. And then in 10 years, I mean, I have no clue. Like maybe this product will have IPO'd, maybe there will be an exit. I honestly don't know. But like my biggest goal is for this product to truly solve the problem that I intended for it to solve, which is to help people meaningfully connect and meaningfully network. And I hope that this product solves this problem in a really meaningful way by that time.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm Ram Chaudhary. This is a conversation with Shai on the Chaudhary Network. Thank you all for listening. Peace.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.